There's, I think, a sci-fi series that I'm very, very excited about. And the reason was because I was like so starved for sci-fi that I was like, I'm gonna read books. I'm actually going to read books.
I mean, luckily we've had Dune, which is the first one was great.
Incredible.
And playing
Dune's
Dune's
okay.
coming out next year.
Let me rephrase. Give me more sci-fi that is not Star Wars. I am
Same with medieval. Give me a fantasy. Give me more fantasy that isn't Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Dune Part 2 is coming
this
out.
year, right?
I
thought so.
See, I thought it was next year.
November.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So me and the boys rocking up to Dune 2, bro. We're like,
Dune 2 premiere.
Yeah, a sci-fi series that I think is in production right now. Can you confirm this, Nabi? Is a series called The Three Bodies Problem or something like that.
Okay.
Which was a sci-fi book that I was very, very interested in reading. But it's basically like, I think the premise of it, which because I've only read the synopsis. It's basically there's something that proves that all of the scientific basis and all of like the mathematic basis which we base all of our sciences on has been proven like false. So Einstein's proof of theory is false and everything like that. And then you just see and then scientists and then you just see the reaction of the world where everything that we believe is false and wrong. All of reality,
like Twitter.
Yeah, like Twitter.
Yeah, so basically, this is a movie where if what would happen to the world if someone L+ ratioed Einstein?
yeah, essentially.
It's like shit. He got him.
What is it, Nabi?
It's next year.
Next year, fuck yeah. Netflix, and I think this doesn't mean anything right now, but the showrunners for Game of Thrones is working on it, so that can be a yes or a no.
Okay.
I mean, clearly the one thing you can't argue about the Game of Thrones and House of Dragon team is that the writing staff were fucking talented.
Yeah.
When they were crushing it in the older seasons.
Yeah.
It was fucking like some of the best dialogue we've had in TV for fucking decades. I'm really glad, really happy that Dune did well. Because like as a movie, you're watching it, you're like, this is like the complete opposite of like a Marvel film where it's like they are entrusting you so much that you will get invested in this world. That is so, I mean, Dune is like, the first 30 minutes are pretty dialogue intense.
Oh yeah.
And so the fact that something like that can do well and be successful in this climate of like cinema where it feels that like that wasn't kind of welcome is so good. And the fact that it's part one and I'm just so glad that.
And
Dune
not to mention,
off.
they took away again, like as someone who's read the books, they took away so much info from the books, and yet it was still cohesive.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, we've gushed about how good Dune is
Frank
on
Herbert
this
the
podcast
Goat.
before. I'm just glad it did well, and I really want more fantasy and sci-fi.
I'm really glad it did well as well, and I think like the latest example I can think of is I'm going to go off on a tangent, like Vinland Saga Season 2, where you look at Dune, you look at Vinland Saga Season 2, where it's a little bit slower than what you'd expect audiences to gravitate towards. But it's a lot slower. It's a lot more dialogue, more character driven. But one thing that's slowly been proven is that people actually have patience. If the
show's good, man.
If the show or story or characters are good, people will have the patience to sit through that. Because everyone thought that everyone was going to drop Vinland Saga Season 2 because it was the farmland arc. It was slower. And then what's happened? It's kind of popped off. It's given us one of the best memes and one of the most widespread memes in recent memory with like, you have no enemies. I'm like, how did the meme from Vinland Saga Season 2 out of everything pop off from TikTok, man? That's the biggest plot twist of 2023.
Isn't that from Season 1?
Huh?
Isn't that from season
I mean, it's from all of it's from all of Vinland Saga, but it's when it's in Season 2 where we really see that you have no enemies line.
It's just an unconventional show to have a meme from.
I'm going to sim Vinland Saga regardless, even if it went downhill, because we finally got a Welsh anime character and he's goated. So I'm in that corner regardless.
But like
Wales mentioned.
Like give us more. You don't need like fucking Subway Surfer on.
Give us some good slow burners, man. That's what I want.
Yeah, give us some good dramas, good slow burners.
It's a tough gamble.
It's a tough sell, but if shows like Steins Gate has proven anything, it's like you could be slow as fuck, but if you stick it through to the end, then everyone can agree just how goated it is, you know. And I feel we don't really get that as much anymore because is it because of people having shorter attention spans? Is it because of the TikTok generation? Hard to say, but
let's just blame everything on TikTok.
Let's blame everything on
Let's be
TikTok.
boomers.
I think that's. I don't
I don't think so. I think that's just a byproduct of what's happening. But like, it's definitely just like I've seen a recent trend, at least with like films, where it's just like we're not really getting as many of those slow burners, or they're not getting as appreciated.
I think it's because the landscape of like going to the theater has changed drastically.
Yes, absolutely.
So you now have to make your money on a movie in the theater, whereas before you had DVD sales and you could rely on those kind of supplement things.
Yeah.
And I think now when it plays in theaters, it has to sell. So it made this kind of, and because streaming deals didn't really make much, as we learned from the pandemic, because even like Warner Brothers that made a Catwoman. What is it? What's it called?
Catwoman.
They made a movie, a DC, I think, and it was completely done. But obviously, I think there's a weird tax kind of thing where if you scrap it, you can save money, and they thought it just wasn't even worth releasing.
Oh, really?
Because they could save more money from just scrapping it.
Oh, I never heard that.
There's some kind of tax reason where if they scrap it or don't release it, they get some kind of thing on it. And so I think we're at a point where movies have to perform at the theater, and so studios taking less risk, which meant more movies that you were easily marketable and easy for people to understand.
Yeah, follow a formula.
Follow a formula, less risk taking, and then only sticking to kind of like very well established directors as well. So we kind of, I think the reason it changed is because of that, not because of.
Not because of Subway Surfer.
Yeah, the pandemic also fucking did a number on film and theater. So I think it's too easy to blame everything on TikTok and stuff. And
I was just.
I know. I'm just saying. Just in case.
It was just funny.
The comments are gonna go off and be like yada yada yada. Shut up. We know.
Yeah, we're not being serious. Don't worry.
Okay. I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not.
Okay, sure.
I want less things to come out. Okay. Hear me out. Okay?
Is that a hot take?
I don't know. Because am I complaining about too much of like
I feel
there is way more stuff coming out. That is true. I mean, I
Yeah.
think there's like 5 times the amount of TV series coming out now than there used to be.
And you see this in the form of like every media, not just like TV series, but like anime as well. I'm pretty sure like music and like pretty much every form of like entertainment. And part of the big reason for that is 1, the internet, 2, the bar of entry to like make something is just a lot lower nowadays. But just means we get a lot of shit. We get so much shit to sift through.
It's pretty easy to sift through it.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
I think it's gotten easier to sift through, but that doesn't really take away, I guess, the stress of, wanting to just find something that is good and will continue to be good, right? Whereas like, back when like there was maybe 15, 20 anime made in an entire year, right? Like,
God.
early 2000s shit, boomers remember that.
How many new anime released last season, Joey?
100?
40.
It was 55, I believe.
Yeah.
55 shows.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, it was like 30.
Yeah.
Like,
but like, you go back to like, the early to mid 2000s, right?
Yeah.
When, I really started to kind of explore everything. Like there was maybe only like 30 shows to come out in an entire year.
Yeah.
So it was not only easier to be able to look at everything and being like, all right, what is it that I want to watch? What is it I don't want to watch?
Yeah.
But now it's just like, you have fucking you said 55.
You can't watch all
last
those
season?
shows, and you shouldn't watch all those.
No.
That's, if you were to keep up with everything, that's watching two entire seasons worth of anime every week, just to keep up with everything coming out.
Yeah.
That's too much.
And it's just like you just don't have the time to watch or play every video game that comes out, watch every movie, watch every TV series. But like, it just seems like sometimes you look at something like Netflix, and I feel like something like Netflix is just pumping out just as much shit as they can. They're just pumping out. They're pumping out stuff that I'm just like, this is like second monitor shit. This is just shit where I don't know what to watch because there's so much. So I'm just gonna put on some
just background noise.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna put on some crappy reality like dating TV show.
Yeah.
And then you look at something like HBO where I'm like, wow, everything you put out is a fucking banger. And I wish there were more companies like HBO that just were like so dedicated to, instead of like pumping out as much shit as they could, just like curate the stuff that you have and just make it as good as possible. Because I feel like there's so much mediocrity now everywhere. Everywhere there's so much mediocrity now. Instead of just focusing on like good stuff that is gonna like stick with people, you know?
Yeah.
This is tough.
Yeah,
It's tough
yeah,
to, how do you do that in the age of streaming where anyone, you know, you can just upload everything.
Yeah.
There's not really a downside to having more programming for a lot of these websites or kind of TV stations.
And I think a lot of people as well will kind of take your point and, you know, make the argument of like, yeah, but you know, you don't have to watch everything. Like you can make a choice to like see a trailer of something and being like, no, I don't want to watch it, or you know, I'll instead watch this. But like, I feel then that kind of creates the problem of, you know, fatigue. Like we've been talking about it this entire fucking episode of like, there's too many fucking Marvel films, and now I'm fatigued over it. Even if you fatigue.
Yeah,
fatigue.
Fatigue.
That sounds like that's like when you play too much Fate.
Fatigue. But like, you know, I didn't watch every Marvel film. Haven't watched most of the Marvel films, but I still have fatigue over it because it's just like I want to stop fucking seeing it. Even just like seeing it like just offhandedly, like even a trailer or people talking about it or whatever. I'm just like, all right, I get it. You know, can we actually like talk about something for some amount of time before we just throw it away and being like, let's this new thing now, you know? And it's just like, again, like I feel it's just, you know, and anime is the same thing where it's like, it's not so much I don't want to see these shows. It's just that I just can't see these shows because now I'm confused. I'm like, all right, well, fuck. Now, before when there was only maybe 5 shows I actually wanted to watch, now there's like 50 shows I want to watch, but I can't realistically watch all of them.
Yeah, I feel like people would just move on so quickly now.
Yeah.
It's like once you finish one thing, you're like marathon it in a day and you're like, that was good. All right, time for the next thing. And you're just like, there's never that like, if you miss the conversation that happens the week after a season finale airs, you're just never going to talk about that thing to anyone.
I mean,
ever again,
you know, recent anime is a great example of that, of being like, you know, it's so incredibly hyped up while it's airing, and people will be like, this is a show that people are going to be talking about for years to come.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, the moment the last episode finishes, everyone forgets about it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Sometimes people are like hyping up this new show. It's not just anime, but a week later, the new season starts, and everyone's like, "All right, what's the new shiny thing? What's people going to talk about today?"
Exactly,
you know?
exactly.
I do miss the time period where it did feel like everyone had like a baseline of things that we had all kind of like collectively watched, you know, because I felt that way not just with anime but just like with movies as well. You know, if you find someone into movies, you'd sort of had like a baseline of just like classic movies that everyone had seen. But now it just seems like everyone has just
random now.
Every it's just fucking randomized depending on what that person has been recommended on Netflix or whatever. And like there isn't that same kind of sense of community. Like even with just movie going watching where people have like, oh, you've seen like the classics, right? You've seen these shows. Wait, you haven't seen fucking Terminator or Jurassic Park or something like that? You know what I mean? You know, it would always start that conversation. But nowadays, no one has time to watch old movies. No one has time to watch the classics or go back because there's just too much stuff being made.
Even though you should. Even though they're classics for a reason.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm just a boomer missing that
old man Garnt made
old
his
man
point.
Garnt missing the old good old days.
Exactly.
You know? Back when everyone played, you know, every kind of like back when everyone played the same kind of things.
Back when everyone was watching the same stuff, playing the same stuff, listening to the same stuff. Now it's just like, it's harder to find people to relate to because there's infinite possibilities now of what anyone can watch. And it's like, it's so hard now, like, especially if you're not constantly watching all the popular stuff. You know, that it's very difficult to be like, oh, did you watch that one show that I really enjoyed? And they'll be like, never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.